Okay, we'll call the meeting to order for the Limington Board of Appeals. This is July 16th, 2024. The first order of business is to determine a quorum. We have all 5 members here tonight, and so we have the quorum. And one of our duties that we have to do is elect officers. We have to elect a chairman, a vice chairman, and a secretary. And last year, I was chairman. I think Gary was vice chairman, and Bev was the secretary. So.
No, you have to elect somebody on the board to be the secretary. I think Diane was the secretary.
Oh, Diane was the secretary.
Right.
Okay. So Diane is the
the
secretary.
recording secretary.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
But somebody on the
So-
board. Wasn't that right, Diane?
Was that right?
I think so.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think you were.
So I'll entertain a motion to
Mr.
have.
Chairman, I move the slate of officers as proposed.
Okay. Any discussion on that motion? And if not,
Yep.
we'll, all those in favor? And it's a positive vote. And the persons that is making application here tonight is the appellant is Ralph and Rachel Chick, but they have a person here speaking for them, right? And so we have a letter giving them their permission to do that. So they have standing. Our ordinance gives us the jurisdiction to hear it in the ordinance, and that's found on page 192 of the ordinance. It gives us the jurisdiction to hear appeals, administrative appeals, and so with all of that busy work, we'll now let the applicant's representative speak. Would you like to?
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to go up to the microphone.
Yeah, up to the mic.
Let me know all the details. Not
Okay.
Just introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Elizabeth Dunn, and I'm here on behalf of Rachel and Ralph Chick.
Can you wait 1 second? Emil, are
I
you
don't think
getting
it's
that?
on.
We're not
Oh.
getting anything through the mics. We have a bad
Do I
microphone.
need to speak? Nope.
Hello, hello.
Yours
Is that?
working.
Can you hear that? Yeah. It's her mic.
Do you want me to keep talking, and then you
No,
can?
hold on.
Just a second, please.
Seems like
Jill's working now.
Is it working now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it
It
is.
just needs to be a little louder, Emil, if you can. Do you know how to do that?
I don't even know mine.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll do my best to speak into it. So my name is Elizabeth Dunn. I am speaking on behalf of Rachel and Ralph Chick for the property 685 Secocas. I'm Rachel's daughter. They have moved down to North Carolina in the fall, so they weren't able to make the trip back up. So we've been up helping them to manage the sale of the property and the management of the property and whatnot. So we have had the stories that we've been trying to sell the property so that they could move down to be with us for more care. That's where we live in North Carolina. And so in trying to sell the property, we found out last fall that as there were 2 dwellings on the property, and so one of the dwellings was an old farmhouse, and we didn't realize until last fall, or I didn't realize until last fall, that it needed to be removed as part of the condition of adding that second mobile home. So we've done that. We did that this spring, and everything's in order and set for that. And now we're ready to market it again. But we wanted to come this and try this because the value as it stands as one property is much lower than if we could kind of divide it up and sell as 2 possible properties. Just trying to help them maximize their their resources and their things. So we're doing the best that we can to exhaust all opportunities for them. So the variance would be that we would be dividing that property into two places, for two things. Because it is a 30-acre property, it's just potential buyers that have come to us in the past have just said, you can't do a whole lot with that 30 acres because of the nearness to the river, and just the nature of where it is, like you can't split it as it is. So we're just trying to figure out ways to maximize the use of the property. But the variance that we're asking for is the road frontage. So it gets a little trickier because half the road frontage is on River Road and half is on Route 11. There is 300 feet on Route 11 as part of it. And then if we were to split and go to the end of where River Road begins and to that other side of the property, it's 260 feet. So we're asking for the 40-foot variance to be able to split right where River Road and Route 111 meet. There's already a natural driveway right there, and it's a natural split to the property. And if you look at the survey, it's a natural split all the way down through the fields and all the way to the river. We kind of followed there's kind of an access road for haying or getting to the river, so we just followed that right down naturally on the survey. So it would not impact any, it's least amount of impact if we could do that. But that variance of road frontage, if we were to divide there, would also include taking down another structure, which is the garage area, and you can see that on the survey as well. So we're prepared to remove that if this should go through. And then it meets setbacks as far as from the barn to the line and, all other outbuildings. And it also meets acreage
This is what they should.
requirements. So I don't know if there's any questions on that so far.
Do we have any questions for the applicant's representative?
Are there any other applicants, Mr. Chairman, that are going to speak?
I did,
Just say something or
sure. I did bring my dad. He's been helping to navigate things because I'm out of state. He lives in Maine, so he's been able to help do some things. So
they've reached out to the neighbor to the right to try to buy, because their property's all for sale too.
So you gotta go to the mic.
oh, I can explain that. So I can do that too.
Okay, you can do that?
Yeah.
All right.
But just on that, so you know where we were coming from. But we've looked into other options where we wouldn't have to ask for a variance. So we approached the neighbor on our side of the River Road, which is listed as just a company, but we made contact with them. We wrote them letters, and they finally responded while we were up here dealing with the farmhouse. It was the same day, and so we provided them with a opportunity to just purchase that 40 feet. So to make it with the explanation, I have the email track if you want to look at that and the text track, but just making the case, it was a very generous offer and making the case if we can kind of sell our property at a good price, it would help their sale, because currently their property is up for sale as well. And they did not want to work with us on that. So that was a kind of a dead end on that side of things. So we have tried, we've looked at other options as far as installing roads to meet the 300-foot consecutive feet of frontage. So we thought about installing a road along the far side of the River Road section of things, but you have to have setbacks from the house to the middle of the road, and we're 20 feet short of that, of being able to do that. So we couldn't install a road there. And you can't install a road either between the barn and the current mobile home because, again, it doesn't meet setbacks to be able to fit in between that area. Then we thought maybe a road on the far side of Route 111 to wrap around that way, and then that space would have it. but again, it's too narrow of a space behind the barn to fit something in there as well. So our hands are kind of tied on other options if this were the case. The other option, would be, I guess we were just thinking of one more option, but it would also require a little bit of forgiveness maybe of the town, because we could approach the neighbor that's on the Route 11 side of things and say, would you be willing to give us the 40 feet? But then it brings the line of the river road up into the Route 11 side of things. So technically then it's like a little bit on Route 11 and then most of the way on River Road. Does that make sense? But and you need 300 feet consecutive on the same road. So I did talk to the surveyor about it, and he wrote an addendum. He just kind of wrote an explanation into the survey to explain how River Road and the new 111 used to all be one road, and it was the old Route 111. And so where the new Route 11 splits off from River Road, where they meet, and that new Route 11 comes off, that's the new road, but where River Road and whatnot used to all be one. So if I were to go and get that extra 40 feet from that River Road, from the Route 11 side neighbor, even though now it wouldn't be considered River Road, like that line would, I don't know if it would be grandfathered in, because then you would technically have 600 feet on Route 111, even though it was the grandfathered Route 111. Does that make sense? So it gets complicated really fast, and I'm sorry that is a very summarized version. Do you have anything you want to add?
Well, no, and the other thing, we're looking for the extra value, because the tax record shows that they valued it at $600,200. And the realtors here, we just can't get that kind of money for that property. And if we could divide it in half, well, not half, but one would be about 5 acres, that would be about 25. It's still good 2 parcels, they both have river access, then they could probably get the money in that ballpark field, which it would help the town too, because now you have 2 dwellings, which is gonna increase your tax base also. It's not like we're trying to cut up 2 little tiny lots, we're trying to keep as much acreage there, just that she's trying to get the most value out of her property to help her mom in this stage of her life. That's what the bottom line is. And we took the house down this year. She said, Dad, last year when they found out last fall, whatever, when they had some interest in the property, they found out that when we went to the town, Greg says, by the way, in the original application 10 years ago, it was written in there that the house had to come down within a year. And I didn't know about it, she didn't know about it. Greg was new to the job, so it just got lost in the shuffle until somebody dug into it. So that's why we dealt with that. And now they have this new, law out there, the LD 2003, that you can put another dwelling on there, but it gets complicated. You're not gonna get a lot of financial people that are gonna wanna lend money when there's 2 houses, even though it's like condo-wise or whatever. We don't really wanna get into that. So like I say, we're trying to.
So benefits both of us if it would go through, as far as having 2 properties.
There's another 6 feet there.
Oh, the angle? Because I just had one question, well, one comment, one question.
Sure.
The 40, 200 and, whatever, we're 40 feet short, so 540?
Sure.
No, we're 560.
560, yeah.
And we were adding it up, it was like 545, and then Ken just showed me there was 6 feet where the driveway is.
So it looks like it's 39.67, really.
Right, it's just a here and right.
So wait, which,
So was it 554
It was
plus
550, 554.11.
plus 6.22? Or 5,
Yeah,
6.22.
well, they were short, 44.89. Then you subtract that 6.22 from that, and it comes up to 39.67.
so on the river
Sure.
road?
So 6.22 doesn't get added?
Oh, yeah, it should be added
It's
in,
added.
yeah.
So
So,
that's where the 40 feet is?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So Ken, which lot now is short?
Both of them.
Well-
That looks to me like
No,
both.
so on the, are you looking at the Route 11 or the River Road?
I'm looking at both.
So we have the radius with a length of 29.56, that's where I was missing.
Yep.
Then 264, so let's call that 294, and then you got the 6.22. So I guess we have the 300 on Route 11,
Okay.
if you add those three numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, the 29, yeah.
And then
That's
the
okay.
other, the River Road, so is that point where the two lots come together, that's where the Route 11 versus River Road is the
Yeah,
point?
so in the survey, I did send you that, yeah. From the.
It's hard to tell.
The more recent survey, it's got like a shaded spot on it.
I don't,
So this is what they've got for frontage here, right?
It's the one that I sent, and it has like the dots that
Oh,
go
up
along.
above?
See this L right here, this
Route 11.
29 feet there.
oh, it's hard to see.
I know, it's really
264,
faded.
52.
Yeah.
Then
So
there's
it goes
6.22.
down Route
Okay.
And
11,
then
down
there's
all the way River Road. They're saying, they shaded that in to say that was
Wonderful.
all
Yeah.
old
if you add
Route
'em all
11.
Hmm.
And
Comes
then
up to
where that
560.
point, that proposed
0.34,
dividing
and then
line
600.
is,
Right,
that's
right.
that's the start of River Road, the end of Route 11.
Okay.
So I was like, can you just clarify that for me?
So we have
So-
300 on Route 11,
Yes,
260.33, let's say, on River Road.
yes.
I guess I do have a comment as far as, I don't know how well you know our tax, how we do our taxes, but it's been a long time since we've done an assessment.
Yeah,
So in 2022, I believe, the select board took it upon themselves to make sure they were within a certain percentage of the value to market, or market value to,
2023, last year.
that was last year?
Yeah, last year.
Okay, so they did a 100% increase on the buildings. They did a 50% increase across the board on the land. So the
Yeah.
fact, so everybody knows that what someone's willing to pay and what the town values it at doesn't mean, it's not apples to apples.
oh yes, I can appreciate that market value doesn't meet tax value. I understand that
But
fully.
we did
it-
mess it up, the select board did change it from the assessment from, let's say, 15 years ago, which is way
Right.
out of
Right.
date, to now, they just doubled and 50%, so it kind of messed up property values. Let's call them property assessment values.
Made us all really happy.
It's not like an assessor went through and said, this land is worth 600,000. It was just across the board.
Yes, I know, and
100%.
but I feel like it's a pretty significant difference between tax assessment and real estate value, and that's where like, how does that, we're just trying to, if the town is assessing it at 600,000, but 425, 450 is what we can do at market, that feels like a pretty big discrepancy of assessment. So how does the town, how will the town, if it were to sell, does that affect?
Well,
Tax
we're on board to
assessment?
do a new assessment in the next 2 or 3 years. I think we've already kind of signed up for it.
But does
Yeah, they're gonna
tax,
split
Yeah.
it between 2 years.
does it ever go down?
Cost.
Does tax
So 3
assessment
years
go
ago, or
down?
2 years ago even, it was way under,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know what the value was, but yeah, but if there's a lot of land here, which you kind of have, and they double that land value, that really increased the value.
So it's tricky because the land is not, a lot of it is usable.
It's floodplain.
And so you can't do anything
Right.
with
But
it.
that's,
And
again,
so-
that's not
Yeah.
that doesn't, typically an assessment
Yeah.
is not done.
And so
A
that's
buildable
why
versus assessment
Yep.
is the problem.
I get it, and I I get that, and so that's why we're trying as best that we can for any sort of avenue that will help maximize, because of all these things, all these different variables that come into play, like what can we
Right.
do that's going to be the best for them and for the town too, because it does make a difference for, I get it, for town side of things too. It would help your tax assessment to have two properties.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people who are looking at this are probably developers that say, oh, if I can get 10 lots, or if I can get 2 lots, or 5 lots, it's a
Or
numbers game
even,
for them.
we've had farmers look at it as well, and many farmers, and they can't do it. One, because the land, you can't farm it other than hay because it will flood, and it's not doable. Livestock, you can have very limited space because the land is flooded for part of the year, so you can't put animals down there. The other section, the wooded section of it, is very full of gullies, so it's not usable on that side of things. So it's most likely going to be a residential with a really great view, right? So how can you maximize that residential side of the things at the top of the hill for you guys too? So, yeah.
Any other questions? I have a question for Craig. Craig, on that north side, on the lot, if they did a road on the north side towards Steep Falls up on that line, would that road have to be 50 feet wide, or could it be 30 feet wide, or if,
You would have to have a right of way of 50 feet.
yeah, a right of way of 50?
But you'll
Serving
be
one to
able
two
to
dwellings only
make
needs
that
to be
into a
15
road,
feet
if
wide.
they do
Right.
that and put
And
a
so,
road in there.
they could go in
59
and loop it around and come back
have to
down
be a
the back line
curve.
like, and go 300 feet and get
You
frontage
can't
that
get
way.
it
Is that
over,
right?
let's
Well,
see.
they could, but as she was saying, if that barn stays, then probably not.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know what that distance is.
Well, you got
it
three-
looks like the,
365 and 159.
yeah, see, it would only
They're
have to
saying
come
put a
down
road
about
in here.
150 feet to get 300.
About a year, probably.
Yeah,
Wouldn't get too close to the barn.
No.
But can you do that? 90-degree turn like we just.
Well, I
talked
mean,
about?
you
Like, does
just
that
do
count as a road?
curve. You could have a curve, it doesn't,
Oh.
you know,
Yeah.
but
True.
you might have to come over, but it looks like there's plenty of room there, since that sideline is 150,
that's what I.
and then they
thought.
could
And
come
then they
down
could come
another
and get that.
150 towards the barn,
Yeah,
and they would get a road.
yeah.
Now,
Road to nowhere.
yeah, and it might serve a driveway
So-
for
Right,
that
to
house.
get another house, right, to be able to do
I know what
that.
they're doing.
Yeah.
For
I know
for
what
that
they're
one
doing.
dwelling with a barn.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But you still don't have, you'd have to move that line over where the mobile home is to get 300 feet there.
Which
Yeah.
takes it off River Road
And
then.
then it's,
Yeah.
that's an issue with 2 roads.
Yeah, and
Potential.
you know what, it's, I'm just speaking, how I view it. That's an easier variance to give than it is to give a
dimension,
variance
right,
for
but, yeah,
46 feet,
Yeah,
or 40 feet. Yeah.
You wouldn't need a variance, what you're saying.
Well,
Maybe
you
the-
might
the-
need it
the-
if you're
There are
needing,
2 roads.
300 feet on that, mobile home lot, or whatever we
The
call
river,
it.
yeah, River Road.
The River Road one. See, if you go back to this issue about having
Continue.
frontage
Yeah.
on 2 roads and adding them up. So it looks like, you know, that line would have to be moved up the road, up
Right.
Route 11 about 40 feet. Then you'd have 300 on that lot
right.
where the mobile home, and then put this new right-of-way in that would serve as the frontage for that northerly lot.
Right.
Yeah.
That seems very invasive to the property and to the neighbors area.
Well, I
No.
tell you what, it would be, but it may be that or nothing. See,
Yeah.
that's the problem here.
I
Yeah,
don't understand what you're referring, I'm a neighbor,
yeah,
what are you referring to? I'm trying to figure this out, because I know on one side, on the
Yeah.
right side, within 200 feet of us, it's nothing but a gully. I don't, you can't put any road there. On the far side, the north side, you could probably put a road that you're talking
Oh,
about.
that's what he
But
was
would
saying.
that serve as 300 feet for that lot?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You go 300 feet?
so you come in along the
You
north,
have 2 roads coming out in 11?
No, you'd only have, that would be probably the driveway that would serve that
Right.
lot.
That would serve that lot, but it has to be 300 feet.
Well, it has to be 300 feet, that's right.
Right, and the next driveway up, the one that's been existing there,
Yeah,
would stay there for the other house.
yeah. If you're gonna have two lots, you gotta have two driveways.
That's right, but you're just saying to gain the 300.
That's right.
Of creating the driveway.
Yes.
Instead of just trying to get a
Yes.
variance for 40 feet.
That's right.
But we're not referring to the other side at all, which is right across from me, which is nothing but a gully. There couldn't be anything done there.
Yeah, I don't know where you are necessarily.
Next to Onyx Group on River Road?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not River Road, actually we're on 11, but diagonally across.
They're in this little triangle.
And I received a letter, so that's why.
Oh, okay.
Just trying to figure everything out.
Yeah. No, we're talking about the northerly part of this, the second lot.
Yes, I thought that. Okay, because that road comes in. I know the land very well too, I've been over there a million times and checked it, you can't walk down there too far, you're gonna go underwater, you're gone, that's all.
But on the farm fields
Yes.
side,
Right, but if you come up here with the village of town, oh, this is small, this is all.
so we don't have topography.
No, we don't have the topography.
I probably have it on
We'll have what?
the plan next door.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, so I'm gonna look at that.
Yeah, let me look at it. Yeah.
Craig, could you get that plan from next door? Because that has topography.
Yeah.
The one we looked at earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'm new,
Yes.
I realize that, and please forgive me.
Yeah.
I'm not as strict constructionist as you are, okay?
Yeah.
I'm looking for the conditions to meet the variance clauses. There are 4 conditions
That's
that
right.
they must meet to be granted a variance. In my mind, they meet those conditions.
Okay.
So, when given the opportunity, I will move to grant a variance.
Okay.
And I may go down in flames, but
Yeah.
that's how I read it.
Pretty flat.
Can they meet the terms of a variance?
prove a
I think they
hardship.
can.
You have to prove
Well,
a hardship.
They approved the hardship.
Huh?
We'll,
Yeah, you
we
have to
will,
prove
You're right.
we will get to that.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Because that's the essence of this.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Proving a hardship.
Because if you can't meet even one of those 4, you're cooked.
You're
You
dead.
can't do this.
That's right.
And one of the hardest ones to meet, of course,
It's the
is the getting a reasonable return. Because the courts have ruled that a reasonable return doesn't mean maximum return.
Right.
Understood.
Yeah. And so that's
If
the
it was no value, then maybe that's,
That's right.
makes
Right.
sense. But
Yes. Yeah.
Someone said you could never build on this property.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
But especially with the LD coming through now, that gives them another option as well.
It does.
So that, so you wouldn't have a hardship.
But
But
I'm thinking there is a way of doing a road there where you can get 300
Yeah,
feet.
right. That,
And that would serve as the driveway for that house. So just picture it coming in and then curving around to the side of the house.
There is a
Down.
gully, so
Yeah.
you'd have to.
Well, yeah.
That's further in, so like
This,
But this
this is
topo,
pretty flat.
yeah, this topo, we have a topo map that's adjacent to this property, and it's showing it being pretty flat. You don't
You
have
couldn't
the
go-
slopes until you get out beyond
By the barn.
You couldn't go to
the,
you couldn't go to the end.
back of the barn.
You just would have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's 3.
So that road, that right of way, private way would have to be built,
I would have to go all the way.
and that would serve as their driveway.
Essentially, you have to dedicate a 50-foot area, 50-foot
So
wide,
then it's not.
and it has to have a 15-foot
15,
driveway within it.
but it doesn't have to be, so it does have to be built, it can't just be a paper.
No, it has to be
It
built.
has to be built.
So they would have to remove the driveway for the barn. I don't know if they'd have to remove it.
No, and,
but- Could you have 2 driveways? I don't know.
well, that driveway would serve for the house, for this other lot.
So how does the mobile home get serviced now with the driveway? Is it,
It's a shared, well,
It's
I mean,
shared?
it's not,
Shared
it's all one property, so it's just that
Right.
single driveway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you see, this line would have to move up the road about 40 feet. So it's on the other side of that driveway. See?
what, the
So
line
like up
is?
to
Yeah,
like
see,
here.
to get the 300
oh,
here,
and then
see,
let you
that's
shoot
gonna
that.
have to
No,
come
'cause
up here.
that's- look,
Then the
this
driveway's
is
fine.
And the driveway's fine.
This.
And the barn can
30,
stay, doesn't have to be removed, the
the-
smaller barn. See, there's two
then
barns there.
This would
Yeah.
have to be like
Potentially
that
the
because
smaller
of
barn would be
setbacks.
fine.
Don't turn.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're saying it's gonna be removed apparently anyway.
Only because the
Yeah.
property line's
Oh,
going through
Oh,
it,
okay,
I assume.
oh, okay,
They'd have to
Unless they-
reconfigure this lot line and keep it
Mm.
30 feet off the barn.
okay.
But, so you could
Oh, true.
Yeah.
come right into this point again, right here.
So then that barn, the small barn would go away.
Yeah, that's gonna have to go away anyway, because the
Mm.
lot line's
Yeah,
going right
what
through
we
it.
call between the
Yeah.
big barn and the mobile, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But would that cause a problem as far as consecutive road frontage for the River Road side of things?
Well-
That's what he's saying, could potentially have a variance.
That's, you know.
It's not it's not a dimensional variance.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right, and it's, that's an easier variance to give, I
Than a
think, in my
dimensional.
view, than giving a variance for 40,
Yeah.
39.67 feet.
Considering it was all one road at one point.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's
What
probably
if-
a lot
what-
of people that are in this situation, and these folks need 40 feet, another person might need 50 feet. When do you draw the line at?
Right.
You
And
know,
in our
for 2 lots.
ordinance, the dimensional is one of those things that
It's hard to change.
very, very hard to change.
That's why we're asking for variance.
Especially if
Then we
there,
have the
if there,
acres,
there are
acres,
other
yeah.
alternatives.
Yeah.
You know, and in this case, in my opinion, there are some other alternatives to do it in order to get, you know, what you need.
I'm just looking at this, when this is all said and done, what's the best use of that property and where the road could, you know, the driveway should be? That's what I'm looking at. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just, yeah, if we could put a road on the north side, fine, but it's really gonna destroy a lot of that property,
That's
I
like
think.
the
Waste of
usable
money.
land.
Yeah,
'Cause
that
that's the hi-
property.
That's the high land, that's the best land of that lot, really. And
Well,
you-
Yeah, but you have a right-of-way there, a legal right-of-way, but you just have a 15-foot driveway coming through there. And you gotta have a driveway somewhere.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Where do I put where are you putting the road?
Right up here.
Yeah, but
Along
there's no
the-
driveway
Let me-
there.
No, you have to build it. That's
Along the
what I'm saying.
159.
Oh,
Do you wanna see my little
Got it.
sketch?
So
So-
you're talking up, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
curve it in.
That's like 160 feet and that.
Yeah, you come down enough to get 300, see? And then you have your house in here, and this is your driveway to the
There's
house.
already a septic right here, a new 10-year-old 4-bedroom septic already sitting right there.
Yeah.
Which we don't wanna, you know, lose. But then you gotta figure you gotta be 100 feet for the well.
Is that septic in front of the old house?
Well,
The
there's
old
2
farm.
septics on the property.
on the far side of it.
Yeah.
There's one up here that serves this mobile home right here.
Yeah,
And then this septic is over, the
That's
barn,
not shown.
right over there.
Yeah.
Because the house was right out in front, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
So
that's,
like you say, I mean, when you're on this side, we're on this side. Just
Yeah,
like-
that's right.
yeah.
and you see, the topography here is not showing any steepness until you get out in back of the barn right here. See, this is relatively flat through there. You could easily put a road through there.
Oh, the other fellow's barn
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah.
Show,
No, this is
No,
this is your barn.
Yeah, this is yours,
Yeah.
yeah, right, yeah.
And
Okay.
see how these topo lines
Yeah,
get, so, and you see right here, it
Just
gets a little
starts to
bit
come
steep.
in.
Right
Yeah.
there.
So we gotta come in this way, right?
Yeah.
My
And-
assumption is this fence is probably top of bank. See how it comes
Probably
into
is.
the property a little
Yeah.
bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably top of bank.
Can you take that down and show my, your proposed, please?
To show you who? Oh, yeah.
That fence? It shows it flat.
It's like
Yeah.
halfway down, because they hay that field, they hay that area.
So-
And you just-
so they'd have a
Yeah, I know this quite well. I
right
did,
of way going like this.
we did this plan
and
next
within
door,
that
so I did the
right-of-way, they would have a
wetlands
driveway,
on that property.
and it was come in here and serve a house.
So it goes down, drops,
in.
and
How is the,
And the barn would stay.
And the barn would stay, there's plenty of room
I don't
there.
think that's gonna be
And
moving
You go
anywhere.
150 here and 150
it's been a while
here,
since,
you
I
got
have not talked to the
300.
project manager.
what is that?
And this isn't, we don't have 300 here.
Going
We would have 300 because we'd move this up to here.
Planning board?
Where is it?
No,
And then
planning
this
board
line would
hasn't.
come down like this to here, so it's still 30 feet
I
off
haven't
the
done any
barn. This
septic
would give them
work out there.
300 feet here on this road.
I don't know where that is. They,
Doing it.
don't they still take a I mean, they still pay for the, something, whatever,
You have a question?
but they, I
think
don't know
they
where
paid
that is.
their-
They're,
Yeah.
Fine, or
Yeah.
whatever they had to
They
pay.
need about
right, so I
another
don't know
40
where that's
feet
going.
here.
Yeah, that's kind of hurt.
And so
I have
I
no
got
idea.
they had
I
it
think she
proposed,
mentioned
that
that just
corner
to
being
reiterate,
right there. So if they go up the road another
We
40,
approached the people on the right
and
side
then
to get the extra
put this lot
footage,
line back down to
We never
this
approached
point,
people
and
on the
everything
left
else stays the
side.
same.
because
got
it's the
three-
same
now they've got
300 feet per
300 feet
road.
on this
If
road.
you're gonna say, like the surveyor, that was all the same
The-
road at one point,
The
if we get
frontage
600 feet,
requirement
are
of
we
300
good?
feet is, we open
If the
ourselves up
neighbor
to
were to sell us
litigation
40 feet.
if we grant
The
a
one on the
variance.
left.
Right.
Even though we have
That's another,
conditions
I
for
don't know.
variance.
Would you be
Yeah.
good with that?
Yeah,
We
the
would be
other-
asking
the-
them.
the thing
It
is,
just came
you're
to us
setting a
tonight.
precedent
Yeah.
about,
I don't know.
Who's
Well,
living in
never granted a
Tiedemann's
variance
old
for-
house?
It's owned by Rachel
I've never
Marshall,
seen it.
but I don't know if she lives there.
No.
She live
I've
there?
seen setbacks,
The barn, the
things
property
like that,
left.
but not road frontage.
Yeah, pretty much.
When I first
Is that
moved
the
to
state,
town, it was
right?
200.
Yes.
We
200
never
feet
approached
frontage.
him, because
And they
He
changed it to
doesn't own it,
300 when
Rachel
the
owns
road
it.
was gonna be overbuilt.
He does the talking for her, but it's owned by Rachel.
Yeah.
Does Rachel live there?
So this would be their road,
Jim, who
Yeah.
lives in the
would
Tiedemann
have
farm, do you know?
300
Seems to
feet
be like it changes hands.
on that
every
road.
month.
I know, right? I
300 feet.
I see a
on
different
that road.
vehicle there
Is
all
she
the time.
renting? She's probably renting it.
Yeah. I
They
have
do
no
if they
idea.
set it off in a 50-foot wide right of way.
No, I know that.
Right.
And then they have a driveway within that right of way.
So the 50 feet counts.
Yeah, 'cause they were the ones that come up, well, she wasn't, but somebody for her had come up for the campground. They'd never,
No, they never proceeded.
I didn't get a good feeling.
I haven't heard much. I've not heard much about
Yeah, I
it.
don't think that campground's gonna go anywhere.
That'll
So
show.
now that she's wondering if, at this point,
If they added
they
4
can
feet,
go back to
40
Rachel
feet.
Marshall and see if they can get their frontage over there. If we give them the variance to use this
Yeah.
river road,
Right.
Is
then
that
they would have to
something,
put their crooked road in, they can
You,
have
you've
it.
never approached the people on the north side?
Because we weren't, you
Yeah.
know, like we weren't sure if you
Right.
would grant that
Okay.
you know, like that variance as far as part of the property going on River Road and Route 11.
Yeah.
But now that we just learned that that was the old Route 11, so would you honor, do you know what I mean? Like if we,
we called out one road.
yeah, so if we did get the 40, 50 feet on the other side of things from the neighbor, would you still be able to split that?
Well, I can only speak for myself, but I would, that's an easier variance to give,
Okay,
since that was all one road once,
sure.
and it's changed now. But that would be an easier thing to, a variance to give, in my view.
Rather
Then-
than a dimensional.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
would be.
so would that be a question for like the town attorney to see if that can be?
Do
Because I know we've asked, I know Craig has asked the town attorney for another situation.
Yeah.
And it kind of sounds like the way the surveyor has, interpreted it is you need 300 on each road.
Right.
So is that something the town attorney would allow us to give a variance to?
Well, he could give us advice and legal counsel about it, and we'd certainly take what he has to say about it in consideration. But,
But he's not the end.
no, we make the decision. Then if somebody doesn't like it, they take it to court.
Yeah.
So what would that look like for a timeline for us? So if this one is denied, would we need to do another
Well,
variance
Well,
for the property
yeah,
on
you
2
would-
roads?
you would,
That
unless, yes, you would.
go through this whole
Yeah.
thing again. So that puts
Now, it may be that, since this is, I think technically you would, yes. Because,
so that
Can't deny
puts
one and approve another because they
No.
don't even have the land.
Right.
no,
you can give them advice.
No, that's fine. Like, and I don't even know if they'll give us the land, so I understand. Like,
Right.
I'd have to go do that first, and then I would need to come through again.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And the thing is about it, what if they say, yeah, we'll sell you some land, but we want $10,000 for it?
Yep.
See, it's
driveway
better,
might be
it's
cheaper.
better to put in a driveway than do
Well,
that.
we would decide
Oh, yeah.
as that
But
unplays
this just came
plays
up
out,
tonight, so
but
that's why we're being honest and
Yeah.
asking these questions. We're not trying to hide
Yeah.
anything or,
and
looking for
to
advice too.
try and
We're
understand,
just gonna work with you guys, 'cause
and-
it's your town too.
right,
Yeah.
and figuring out on our end of things, like we're, you know, we are, we
Okay.
need to make decisions.
So I got another question.
Sure.
All right, so it is possible to put that 300-foot road in, I guess. I mean, I'll have to look at the terrain, go out and walk it.
Yeah.
But, so if we can put a 300-foot road in, that's a dividable lot.
Yep.
Does that road have to be put in right away, or is that just, because it's not being built, it'll be up to the person that builds the property, noted that this is what has to be done?
That's
But we
right.
don't have to do it to divide it, because we're not accessing that property that way.
You're not getting a building permit.
Right. So when the time comes for a building permit, then that person knowingly, just like we found out that the house had to be torn down, it'll be out there plain and simple that this road has to go in this area.
Before that lot can be a legal buildable lot, that right-of-way would have to be in place.
Right.
But it's a right-of-way, it isn't, but does it have to be built? A right-of-way
Well,
can be
before,
deeded in.
before you get an occupancy permit on that house, I'm sure that driveway would have to be actually constructed. But you can have a legal lot with just the right-of-way
Right, that's what I'm
surveyed
asking.
in, the right-of-way
Right, the
surveyed
survey's
in.
gotta
Yep.
set up the plan,
Yep,
Right,
yep.
okay,
and then you don't have to build it, but it'll probably be some sort of negotiation thing with the buyer.
correct, at
If it's
least,
gonna cost me 10,000, I want 10,000 off the price.
right, okay,
Yeah.
that's
I
why I
would
just,
think.
you know,
Yeah.
if we knew that, if we got, well, then it's, yeah. So we don't have to go out and spend that money right now at this point, we don't, if we're.
Right.
The new builder, so the price would be subject to
Yeah.
whatever road it, the road's $50,000.
But we can't split the property until the road has
No,
been.
no, that's, no, that you can split.
You can do the
property,
survey,
You do the survey,
show the right
Yeah.
of way.
show the right-of-way,
And they'll draw
Yeah.
in a road,
Yep,
and
and
then,
it's splittable.
and then you're gonna, this is, I'm speaking of myself, others may disagree or whatever, but this is how I see it. That you come back then to ask for this variance on the,
road frontage.
Road.
300 feet, 300.
now, it may be that you'd wanna do that before you spend money on the survey, to be assured that we're going to do that. We're gonna give you that variance,
Hmm.
yeah. Which, you know, again, we'd have to go through the process, okay?
Yep.
But for my own sake, that's an easier thing for me to give a variance to than 40 feet of road frontage, because everybody is going to come back and say, well, you did it over there, and I want the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, that's not gonna.
And
And you have 300 feet, so dimensionally in the
Yes.
ordinance,
Right, right,
you have 300.
300 feet.
Right.
It's a gray area, I think, if it's
Yeah.
on
that's right.
the two
And-
roads, especially where it's a
And
straight
it may
road.
be that if we take counsel from our attorney, that they'll say, hey, this is no problem.
So,
There's no need for a variance even. I don't know, but that's something that would have to be explored.
so you're leaning that you're not in full agreement with Mr. Eastman here, saying that we have met all our
Well, we gotta
criteria.
do
No.
that.
Well, we're having,
That's not
we
unusual.
haven't,
Well, I'm just,
yeah, we haven't gotten to that point.
No.
And-
And your other option, of course, is with the LD. You can sell it as one lot and
Well,
be
the-
able to put more
the-
than one
You
house on it.
Absolutely, but it was more to benefit as well, to benefit the town to have two things, and then, yeah.
The
And-
value,
But I'm saying,
financing-
you do have some options as well.
yeah. Craig, I want to show you this. I want to make sure you're in agreement to this. That this is a possibility of bringing something in like that would be 300 feet.
Yeah.
And they'd have their driveway right down the middle of this, 50 foot wide, and then you put a house in.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, and this would now be a sideline though.
Yeah, that would be a sideline,
Mm.
yeah.
And this would be a back line, so
Yeah.
this right here, this will,
Yeah.
lot line here could be within 30 feet of the barn.
And they come up the road 40 feet, and then they come take from that point, instead of this point, go right back down to here.
Mhm.
And this line would be 30 off the barn.
Yeah.
See?
This one would have to be at least 30 feet off the
Yeah.
barn. And this line here as well.
Yeah, and this one is, that one wouldn't change.
This, I made sure that was 30 feet
Yeah.
setback.
Yeah, this one wouldn't change. It would just go from this point to a new point, 40 feet up the road.
Mhm. Then the driveway would have to be moved over.
Well, the driveway would be right here.
The right of way.
See? This
Oh.
driveway would now serve
Oh,
this.
right on that side of that.
Yeah.
Do you have a
But you
copy
gotta
of the
go around
dimensional
here
table?
now, so it's gonna have, the
Do you have a
driveway-
copy
the
of
driveway
that?
comes around like this right now.
Oh, I see, yeah, yeah.
So
And
we'd
you're
have
in
to move the
rural.
driveway over.
Huh?
Can I keep this?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's either that or make
You will.
give them an easement for that driveway.
You could move the driveway, or you could just do an
Yeah.
easement.
I think it'll form a natural driveway when this comes down and gets sorted out. It'll just
Go through the old barn.
Yeah.
It's good thing.
But that would, meet the ordinance.
See what?
Yeah. Okay.
If we could extend this railroad frontage.
if I can get that variance. That's my problem, right?
Right.
So if I
Right.
do all of that and then come back for that variance and then that's denied, then I'm out another
That's
month
right.
of
That's
stuff.
why,
So how do I?
that's why you want to, I think, even tonight, make application for another, meeting, and we'll rule on the road, being, no, not tonight,
Oh,
but,
right.
because
Another
we
meeting.
can only act on what the application,
Right.
so we have to have
So
another
it's
meeting.
Another month out?
It's probably another month, wouldn't it be?
Has to be.
It has to be a month, yeah. It does.
Yeah.
But I can't speak for everybody, but my view is I wouldn't have any problem granting a variance on that.
On the road.
Yes,
Mr.
Yep.
Chairman,
yes.
can we take a straw poll,
Yeah, we could take a straw poll,
say, and give these folks
some assurance.
some sense of where the board is at
Yeah.
without
Uh,
making it
The,
an official vote?
I think, we could certainly do that, but another thing is that maybe we should run this by the, town attorney and see if there's some glaring thing that we're missing here about that. But,
How long have you been doing this?
a while,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't kowtow to attorneys.
Yes, and, so, you know, but yes, I mean, if,
You go down a slippery slope if you start messing with
Yeah.
the dimensional.
yeah, you do. But, I mean, I would be in favor of granting that, not, unless there's new information that would so contrary to it, I would be.
I mean, Craig, do you know, black and white in the ordinance that says 300 feet has to be on one road? Like, does it say that in there? 'Cause
It says continuous frontage, so.
So
When I
we-
called the lawyer, he said it can't be on two roads.
Yeah.
Because that would mess up the front line or the sideline, which one's which, so the front right has to be the one that's on 300 feet of the road.
But at what time line? When? Because like that all used to be one road. So
this is pretty much a straight line. It's actually a little inverted, if anything.
But when he says that, he's saying that you can't do that unless a variance is granted. I mean, in a sense, right? That's like anything in the ordinance. That's outside of what the, unless a variance is granted, you can't do that.
For the two roads.
Yeah.
Straight line, it's a straight line with two roads.
Yeah, yeah,
She said I'd have to call the lawyer on that one.
yeah, I know. So,
But I think where it was one road,
yeah, I do.
it
I
would
agree.
make sense.
Yeah,
Plus, it's almost a straight line.
it's almost a straight line.
So it's not like you're going around a corner and there's front and side and you're messing with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To me, that makes way more sense
yeah.
because you have your 600 feet of continuous frontage or
So-
300 plus
Yeah.
right away.
I'm guarded against saying tonight that, yes, we would do that, because I would think we ought to at least hear from the town attorney about it. Not that we kowtow to it necessarily, but at the same time, we have attorneys for a certain purpose, and we ought to listen to them to some degree. But anyway, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Now, what if we table this, Bev? Can we table this?
I think we have to finish this one.
Oh, yeah, but, yeah,
Can you have a meeting sooner, you're thinking?
yeah, that's what I'm thinking, yeah. If we,
But I mean, it's gonna take some time to get
you have to have the
right away.
notice go out for 2 weeks, right? What, 10 days?
Yeah, you're going away.
Yeah, I'm going away. Won't be back until the 15th or 16th, just about a month from tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
And they would need to get the survey
Yes.
updated anyway.
Yeah, that's
gonna
right.
take a couple weeks, I would think,
Survey.
minimum.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
I don't know. I think we have to,
Yeah.
I think we have to rule on this
Oh, yeah.
4-foot variance one way or the other
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah, that's right. So, is there anybody else in the audience that has anything has some standing that wants to speak about this at all? Or if not, we'll now go into those 4 criteria that we need to do, okay? And
Justification.
now, let's see here, where are we? Oh, there it is. This is it right here. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to start with number 4 first.
Okay.
That the hardship is not the result of an action taken by the appellant or a prior owner. So, there was nothing that anybody has ever done that created this issue, and that's what that means. So, it's my view that they do meet number 4.
I agree.
So proposing this is not the action? You mean there's no
No.
existing?
No, the problem of this frontage is not the result of, say, somebody selling off some land and not leaving enough frontage.
Okay.
So it's,
Right.
it's something that the prior owner or the appellant did that's created this issue, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that this, it's not, in my view, they didn't do anything here that created this. Okay?
Right.
Any discussion on that one? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor of the concept that number 4, they do meet that, the hardship for number 4. All those in favor? It's a positive vote. So yes. And number 3, the granting of the variance will not alter the essential character of the locality. There's nothing about this that's gonna change the character of that neighborhood over there with us granting a variance. So it looks to me like they would meet that one as well.
I don't know where,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know where we are in the whole solar farm
Right,
issue, which is right across the road.
yes.
But if anything had anything to do with altering the essential character of that area, I
Yeah.
would submit that it's probably not what they're planning,
Exactly,
probably
yeah,
what's across the street.
yeah. And even if there's another house built there, it's a residential rural
Right.
zone, it's, the density of the housing is gonna be still very much like the density of housing that's already there.
Yes.
Right.
Any more discussion on number 3? All those in favor of acknowledging that they do meet number 3, the granting of a variance will not alter the essential character of the locality. All those in favor? It's a positive vote. Now, and number 2, the need for a variance is due to the unique circumstances of the property and not to the general conditions of the neighborhood. That one's a little
Tricky.
a little trickier, but it is kind of unique in the sense that what was once a road, the main road was altered, and now there's an intersection there. And I don't know how old the old farmhouse is, but
1968.
yeah,
The chicks have been there for a long time.
yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know, I would submit that, that they do meet that one as well.
So if they meet all of them, what does that mean?
If they meet all of them, that means they're approved. The more, the other one
I
there.
don't think they can, I don't think that they can do number 1 because that,
Yeah.
We're on number
They-
2.
Yeah,
right
we're on
now.
number 2.
well, okay.
But, yeah, they have to meet all 4
Correct.
to,
Right.
to
Understood.
gain a positive, result here. So, what do we think about 2? Do I have a motion?
I think they've done a good faith effort to deal with the unique circumstances, so I would be in favor of approving number 2.
Okay, so that motion is put forth. All those in favor of acknowledging that they've met number 2, all those in favor? Okay, that's a positive. Now, number 1 is, so currently, and this is what the application said, currently the town has valued the property at $600,000. The approval and construction of the solar farm opposite the property is impacted buyers' concern, coupled with the limitation of the land being sold only as one large 30-acre lot. The property has not been able to attract purchases offers at the town's evaluation of the property, despite significant Saco River frontage. Parties have been generally unable to substantiate the purchase as one lot and have demonstrated that by splitting the lots, the intended and full value could be achieved. The thing I would say about that is that it very well could be that the town has got this way overvalued. In fact, that there's a lot of wetlands down there, it's in the floodplain, and so that's a possibility. And so the fact that you may not be able to get offers that match up with the town assessed value really doesn't say much to me about it. The idea here is that you have to whatever the offer is, I forget now what you said, maybe 400 or 500 thousand or whatever, but a reasonable return is not the same thing as a maximum return.
Right.
See, and the courts have ruled this. The person, you may not get the maximum return, but if you can get a reasonable return, then you don't meet this hardship for that on the of this part of that. Okay, so I've talked enough.
Yeah, no, that's basically, unfortunately, that's the,
Do you remember if the appeals board has dealt with this sort of question in the past, frontage reduction?
I'm sure we have. I'm sure we have over the years. I don't remember of a case where we've ever granted
Approved
it.
it.
This is, I began this journey back in 1983.
Yeah, so
So,
you would know,
But I
for sure.
wouldn't, but I can't
He doesn't
remember,
Yeah.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast, so.
Well, Craig,
It was in
speak to
1987
the,
that we.
okay, I don't mean to compare apples to bananas, but another couple has just come in that wants to split their property. They don't have enough frontage.
They don't have the frontage either.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much feet they're short, but
Yeah.
they don't have 600 feet to split it.
Yeah, this,
So in order for them to do it, they would have to put in a 300-foot road.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How long has this 300-foot requirement been in force?
well, I can't remember, but it's probably in the early 90s. We went to, it used to
Didn't
be
it was 1997
This
that the
was
ordinance
adopted
came in.
97.
97.
97, the ordinance
It
came
was,
in
a
about.
lot of places, it was 200 by 400 you had to have. Yeah, yeah.
What do you mean 200 by 400?
Well, you had to have a 2-acre lot, or roughly 80,000 square feet, and it had to be 200 foot of frontage on a road. And so, and this is changed.
So we could have met that.
You would have met that.
So that was the standard.
1997.
Yeah,
But
and
that's,
it's changed over the years. There's been a lot of
Yeah.
amendments, a lot of changes.
It's almost like it's going the opposite way, because now with this new, the state law that is LD 2003,
Yeah.
they want more density. We don't want to like cut this all up into little pieces.
yeah,
Once we do it this way, then it's probably gonna stay this way for a long, long, long time,
Yeah.
if we can do the 2 lots.
yeah,
So versus somebody can actually put another house in that property anyway, it just is gonna be a tough sell,
But you're
it's
saying
shared.
if you do it for us,
What I'm
you're
saying is
thinking
you're
it's
setting
gonna
a precedent.
snowball and
Oh,
you're gonna
definitely.
do it for
Yeah.
everybody.
yeah, definitely.
Oh, it
This-
would,
We have to give
definitely.
an example.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it's,
yes and no, this is a,
No,
it's
it's
a
just
very
a-
unique situation here.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think this is the run-of-the-mill
Yeah.
asking.
I'm with you on that one. I
Yeah.
really am. I'm
but,
not,
but
you know,
unfortunately, that's why you have an ordinance and that's why you have rules as
And
much
that's
as you
why
don't
you
want
have
to.
You people.
That's why you have conditions to grant a variance.
Right.
Yep.
And every situation is taken on the value of analyzing it through that lens, is it not?
It is. No,
And
that's
it's
true.
always-
Because we've never done it, it doesn't intimidate me.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we've never done it, but it's.
But the
I
code
remember
officer,
doing it.
the code officer for, I'm sure for many, many years, has said if you don't have the frontage, you can create the frontage.
That's right.
This one's a little bit tougher because you only have
Right.
159 on the north side and
Yeah.
the buildings the way they're set
Mhm.
up.
Yeah.
But we just figured out, without being surveyors, how to make the
That
300
you can
feet.
create the frontage.
Yeah.
That the code officer for many
Right.
years, not just Craig, before
Yeah.
Craig, has said the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can create the
Even with
frontage.
that though,
Yeah.
do you understand that like you still have to come in for a second variance, and when you haven't approved any variances, it's, oh my god, that's a big risk, right, for us to take and investment, so I'm wondering.
Well, if we can reach
how
out to
you
the,
know-
if we can reach out to the attorney,
Yeah.
and the attorney says, well, it wasn't the old Route 11.
Yeah.
I think majority of us sound like it would be a pretty easy variance to grant.
Yeah. See, that's quite different than somebody.
But this was quite different.
Well, this is a granting a variance, on the fact that the frontage entails a portion of 2 roads.
Right.
Is way different than granting a variance for not enough frontage.
Do you see how I could?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I understand.
your argument could be at that next variance meeting, oh, now you can go on 2 roads, and because it's straight, it's okay, but what if someone wants to turn onto another road?
Yeah.
Like, we could be the example again of, no, we're not gonna grant that,
Well,
because then it's hard to.
well, that's
It may be the
We would
case.
have to just go at
That's-
their pace and do that.
that's right,
So I
and that's a
get that.
possibility, but the fact that this was all one road once
I think it's in our
Is-
favor.
is in your favor. It isn't like you're,
It's hard to know what's grandfathered and what isn't. Like, that's okay to be grandfathered as a consideration, but the 200 feet.
That's not grandfathered.
No, that's not grandfathered.
Okay, it used to be like that though. It
Yeah.
used to be like that.
yeah.
Well, if you
the
came in
ordinance changed.
1997, you would've gotten it.
Right,
You
yeah,
know,
exactly.
Not
Yeah,
96.
Right,
Yeah, that's right.
If we did, yeah, I mean, you-
before we had any ordinance.
But how the road used to be, it would be okay.
Yep.
It would be a strong consideration.
Yep. And before 1950, you could build all kinds of houses out there probably, because
And-
there was no ordinance.
and on the river itself, 50 by 100, you could never build on that. But if you built a house in 1950, you
Yeah.
can now build on it
Yeah,
because you're grandfathered in.
right.
On the lake, on the river,
Yeah.
It's-
So just ordinance, I mean, the
it's-
ordinance wasn't around back when all these camps were built on lakes.
Right.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
So
Could you
my
go
name-
to the mic, please?
Identify yourself.
Yeah.
My name is Helen LeCount. I've been a realtor for the last 25 years. I work for Keller Williams Realty, and I'm friends with the family here.
Nice.
One of the issues that I see from a real estate professional standpoint is you have one continuous lot that is going to be difficult, especially if somebody were to build another structure on that lot. It makes it very difficult to get any kind of financing because you have to have comparable properties to support a lender giving the money to a buyer to purchase something like that. There are two septic systems. There's one shared well, so that would all. So some of the systems are in place already, and I just feel from a revenue standpoint, I feel from the lack of home housing that we're seeing all across the state, trying to sell this lot as it is now versus being able to split the lot to add added revenue to the town would be in your best interest, in my opinion.
Well, we understand we're not arguing that there is a difference in value. There obviously is, and so we're cognizant of that. And this would be a way of splitting it by putting that road in. Yep.
So we're gonna get back to number one.
Okay, so we're back at number one. Do we have any other discussion on that? Don't be bashful if you want to, if you think in terms of that's being a positive thing, that they've already met it, or not, okay? So we'll vote on it. All of those who believe that they have met the criteria of number one, the land in question cannot yield a reasonable return unless the variance is granted. All those in favor? Okay. All those opposed? Yeah. So it's 3-2. Okay. So where do you go from here? I think that we can, I don't know who has the authority to call the town's attorney. I mean, Craig does.
Greg, probably.
Yes. And just get his opinion about it, Craig. Okay?
Of continuous frontage on
Yeah.
roads that is in a straight line.
Yeah, and the
And I
fact
would-
that this was always,
Yeah. Route 11.
was one road. And whether or not he sees any issue or problem of our appeals board granting a variance to have about 40 feet of this lot being on Route 11 and 260 on River Road. Because that's in the essence what it would be. Yeah. But it's almost a straight line. What's that now?
I can give the attorney the surveyor's name, and he can verify that that was one road at one time.
Yeah, if he
When did
needs
they
to.
change that?
Well, I don't know. It must have been back in the
Not in my life.
20s?
Well, it's when they built the Route 11, right?
Yeah.
So it used to go to Route 25,
Yeah.
let's say, and then they built.
I bet it's around the 20s.
I was gonna say, I don't
Teens.
ever recall it being, yeah.
Does the
so
survey
way
have that?
back.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
sorry.
I have problems with the definition of
Yeah.
frontage.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
The hatched area is the historical location of the highway, of the highway known as River Road from Steep Falls Village to East Limington, as referenced in parcel deed and shown on a usage topographic map, Sedago sheet dated September 1896.
Yeah. See
So
that.
the parcel road frontage runs entirely along historical location of River Road regardless of renaming. And the house was built in 1868, so it had been built along that continuous road.
Yeah. 22 years later, they changed the road after that house was built.
I mean, the definition of frontage in the ordinance, distance between the sidelines of a lot as measured along the front line of the street right-of-way limits. Doesn't say what street, doesn't say that you can't use the two.
Yeah.
And I know that's the interpretation, I think, from the attorney,
Yeah.
but I think it leaves a little gray area to me.
Yeah.
I don't see any gray.
Yeah.
Not allowed?
Well, where's the main road? That's what the frontage definition refers to. I mean, I like the creativity here, but I think your attorney's gonna say, yeah, that's a sideline, it's not frontage.
Well,
You don't think so?
no, I don't.
Okay,
But
well,
we
You
can
know
see.
more about it than I do,
Well,
No.
it's frontage, but it's frontage on two roads.
That's right.
but
So
there's no
then-
road there.
So then the question is, can you have frontage on two roads,
Yeah.
right?
And
It's
add
still
them up.
frontage, you can't call it side.
Right.
It's public road in front.
Yeah.
It's just not an, can you borrow 40 feet from a different road?
Craig, to ask you, isn't that a problem that they had down there on Hanscom School Road and on 11 with the field across the street? Am I correct?
They didn't have the frontage there either.
They didn't have, they had frontage on two roads, but they didn't have enough frontage on one road.
Where are
They
you
did
talking
the
about,
other.
Craig?
Right where, Hazel School Road and Route 11 is by the Steep Falls Bridge.
The new
Okay.
driveway?
Right there, there's a field out
Yeah.
behind.
It's across
where
from my
Dale's property
house.
is. He's got that little shed out there.
So what is it,
Yeah.
private
Field
way?
behind that.
Well, they're building
It
it
was
there.
just, it was
Well, they wanna
basically,
build a house, but they need to put a road in first. That's
So
what-
they're building a private
they have to,
way.
they have to build a road because they
They're building
couldn't
a
get the
road, so
frontage
they're
on
gonna
the
get
other.
frontage off that
That would be
road?
the frontage off
Yeah.
through the road.
Even though they tried to stick 40 feet from our land onto it. And they found out they couldn't get away with that. So, yeah.
So what I would say is,
That wasn't even
let
their
us, try to get
Wasn't trying to use
some
two
reading
roads.
from the attorney,
Because
okay?
it wasn't even their land.
And then,
Well, yeah,
we
if
can
he
make,
had have given
advice
him
to you about
the other
coming
way
back again.
to get in there, but he didn't, couldn't.
Okay.
And
Try to
do
do
they
one
have to
on
redo
11
their
too,
survey in the
and
meantime?
take part of our land.
The way
They
we
couldn't.
look, or we're just gonna go with this one?
Well, they would have to have a plan showing that right away,
And you know
Yep.
who it is. It was
the
in-
survey.
it was
But you don't wanna go and do that before,
you know, the one that did the
Um,
Tucker Road? Tucker Road.
we get some kind of reading maybe
Chicken
from the
Mansion.
attorney, and,
And what if I were to get the 50 feet from the neighbor?
well, you'd still have the same issue about the
Right.
40 feet on the
But
second road.
would it be looked at differently?
Well, I think it would be looked at the same, because if you put a road in, you got your frontage for that second lot, so then the question comes up about the lot where the little house is presently.
Yeah.
And so it's the same issue, you still have to have 40 feet on that, part of Route 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you have to decide which way you might wanna do it. If, you can talk to the neighbor, and see if you can get another 40 feet. That might be easier than doing the road. Depends on a lot of things.
Have you ever been in contact with her, or?
Yeah.
Say that. Maybe not with Rachel or something, but.
Yeah.
with
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You want a,
Yeah.
definition?
Yeah.
I looked up the frontage.
Frontage, yeah.
It told me to go to the service road. So, a service road running alongside a limited access highway for use by abutting owners and as a transition road from the highway to local streets, also called a frontage road.
Okay, what are you reading from there, Ruth?
The Real Estate Dictionary,
Okay, gotcha.
4th edition.
You see, we have to, we're going by the ordinance and what the ordinance says is frontage. You could probably find all kinds of little different definitions, but what we have to do is stick to the ordinance. And so the question comes is whether or not this can be done with adding another 40 feet onto what is the surveyors depicted as Route 11.
So then, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
If our esteemed attorney says, nada, it's not frontage, you can't do this, then do they qualify for a variance?
I would think that they might.
Okay.
Well, they're gonna have to have a variance. Well, I think we're gonna have to they're gonna have to have a variance anyway. And so, and it may be the attorney's opinion that that's not consistent with the ordinance of having contiguous frontage on two different roads, okay? But that's only if you don't give them a variance. See, so that they would still need a variance if that was the case. And Craig's interpretation has been that if you have a corner lot and you have 150 feet by another 150 feet on two different, there's June Street and May Street, there's 150 foot of frontage on each street, you can't add those together and come up with 300 because they're on two different streets.
So in this case, 150 feet would be on Route 11, the other 150 feet would be on what?
No, 40 feet would be on Route 11 and 260 would be on River Road.
Right, but it's almost a straight line. And it was one road at one time. This is why,
It allows us to
to me, I have no issue about granting a variance for that. But I'd like to hear, maybe I'm missing something, flagrant missing something, and I'd just like to hear from the attorney about it before I commit that, yes, that's what we would do. Fair enough?
Yeah, but my mind
Yep.
is like, I think if he says no,
Uh,
really hard,
Then we,
he's gonna stick to the rule.
Well, I mean, can he say no, but the appeals board can grant a variance?
that's what I'm saying. That the ordinance doesn't allow that.
Doesn't allow it, but
But
that's what you guys are here for.
yeah, but you can't do it unless a variance is given.
And a code officer can't do that variance.
Right, he can't do that. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So you're telling us that you're all in favor of that 40 feet going up there?
Unless we hear something that's really something that we're missing, but
All of you, I mean,
yeah,
that's your opinion.
yep,
Do you
yep.
mind me asking the rest of them?
Well, that's
No.
not strong.
I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Struggle.
Would you
But
be in
have-
favor of that, Ruth?
Your opinion.
So the answer is yes.
Okay, so we're trying to figure
Yep.
which way to go, yeah.
Yeah, that's
He didn't
right.
ask me, you'll notice.
I already know
He
you-
knows where I
I
am.
already know you.
Yeah, he's expressed his
I'm
favor.
taking him out for an ice cream.
Maybe two. But yeah, I mean,
So
I
we
wouldn't
have
have
two
any
avenues,
issue with
yeah.
that.
Well, we only have one, really, we have to get that in order to even put the driveway in on the other lot,
Yeah.
that's 300-foot
See,
access.
Who's your surveyor?
Survey Inc.
Okay,
Bill Shipping.
so they can take that plan and show a 300-foot driveway in there
Right of way.
in about 5 seconds. You know, they can show that on a plan for you. But,
Does it have to be curved and then they end up with like some empty space over here?
well,
Corner?
setbacks for
a driveway,
installing that driveway?
there's no setback.
They can go right on the line?
They're gonna go right to the line.
Okay.
Now, what you do, you'd have a 50-foot wide strip of land that would lead in, and because you have to have a 50-foot right-of-way, right, Craig? And so within this, but within this 50 feet, you have a 15-foot driveway.
Wherever you wanna put it.
How deep does the right-of-way have to go in?
Well,
300.
it goes in-
300 feet.
It goes in around 150 and turns and goes down towards the barn, so it's 300 feet.
But
15 feet wide, no,
Oh.
15. You have to have a right of way, so there has to be access to go
that's
there.
what I mean, like that
But-
driveway is not right along the line, it has to be in a little bit. It's
It would probably be in 25 feet from the lot line.
Like that land, that's like, that's the best
So it's got.
part
But
of
then
the property.
it's just the cost for the surveyor and it's all that.
Yeah.
All you have to have is on tape.
We don't have to do it. And does that?
Not until you apply for,
No.
We do not have to do the work,
until you
No.
apply for building permit.
and then if we were to sell the property.
You would you would have to, you would have to tell the buyer that, though. You would have to, you know.
They would have to.
Right, you'd already have the survey with the drive one, this
Yeah,
is
that's
what
right.
has to be done to get a building permit. So
Yeah.
you'd have that to sell, so.
Or you can try your next door neighbor and ask for 40
How are we
feet.
gonna do this next variance?
That's
Okay,
the easy way, right?
so there's two things really in that next variance. Asking for the 40 feet to go on the other road, if you're gonna still call it two roads, we're calling it one road.
Right.
Surveyor's calling one road.
Right.
So that doesn't really, but we have to mention that probably, right, in the variance? And then on the, we'll have the 300-foot, Road,
That doesn't,
That's not a variance.
that's not a variance.
yeah.
Say,
At
you
most.
only have one variance, and that's that 40 feet on that
Okay,
road.
that's all we're looking for, and
Yep.
then, yeah.
Yep.
And then we can,
What you do with that property afterwards is up to you.
right, but we're just trying to get divided, and the way to divide it is we have to get that 40-foot variance
Right,
to call this one 300 feet on the, river road.
right.
And then the other one's only get the 260, but it's gonna have the 300 when the new owner or whoever,
The sur-
when you buy it and
Yeah.
put in your nice house up there.
Yeah, so the survey will do two things for you.
Right.
He'll set a pin that's 40 feet further up the road,
Correct,
and then he'll come down and hit this other corner that you already established,
yeah,
and then he'll show that 50-foot
Yeah.
right-of-way up there on the plan.
yeah, no, I'm just
Yep.
making sure we're all on the same
Yep.
page.
Yep.
Okay.
And the private way can have a 90-degree
It
or
can-
even
Yep.
110-degree
Mm.
turn,
Yes,
because it's all one
yep.
Contiguous.
Joshua Lane or whatever it's
One
called,
contiguous-
one contiguous road.
Chicks
Road.
Lane.
Chicks Lane.
Yeah,
Driveway.
okay?
All right,
All right.
so we can do an application tonight for that, or
Well-
just do another online.
You can, yeah, but
You wanna
let us,
schedule it? Do we wanna try to schedule it?
let's try to schedule it, yeah.
Yeah.
And if we get blown up by the attorney or whatever, then we'll do something different.
I
maybe.
don't have a calendar.
So do you have a calendar for August? I think I get back from Scotland on the 16th.
On a
Go to
Friday?
Scotland, lucky.
On a Friday?
No, I get back on oh, wait a minute.
16th is a Friday.
Yeah, I leave on the 1st, and I think we leave Wednesday, so it'd probably have to be that next Monday, right?
It depends, if it's the third Monday, we can't meet, it would have to be Tuesday.
It's the
'cause
third.
that's
Okay.
Planning,
It's the third Monday, the 19th.
Yeah, so we'd have to do it the Tuesday.
third Tuesday.
Yeah, so what's the date of that?
The third Tuesday is the 20th.
20th?
That sounds right to you.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
And the
So we're
20th
looking at the 20th,
I
okay?
could probably leave. My wife has
Oh,
surgery.
are you?
And she can't lift anything for the next 6 weeks.
Oh, no, his
Well-
wife is having surgery today.
But my kids will be home,
Oh,
so.
okay.
So, yeah. Does that, do you wanna do it? You,
And I'm getting a crown.
no, you see, I'm
Finish
coming
on the
home from
20th.
Scotland
I'll
on
leave for a
the,
couple hours anyway.
Okay.
So we can wait till September if you want.
no, you don't wanna do that. Yeah, that's right. So, she's a good representative. She's not going to,
Well, I'm hoping they don't schedule my colonoscopy.
oh, I see, yeah.
I'll be, I'll check.
So what day are you looking at?
The,
You're gonna be here, right? You're gonna be able to be here.
right,
You'll be able to be here.
okay. So that's Tuesday, the,
The 20th.
20th. Okay,
It'll be a quick meeting.
should be.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I know we did not meet the criteria for exception number 1.
yeah,
Do we then have to take a vote to deny the variance?
we do. Because it's, they have to meet all 4. Yep. So, so,
Get an ice cream.
yeah. So,
I'd say based on the vote we took on number 1, 2 in favor and 3
Yeah.
opposed.
yeah,
I don't know,
The-
why,
the,
why,
uh,
do
the
we need to
variance-
vote again?
yeah, the variance is
Take
denied.
action.
Well, I would say based on all
Yeah.
4 things that we talked about.
Yeah, the variance is denied. So we have a motion for that? We have to have a motion, then we discuss it, and then we vote.
You're not getting one from me.
Yeah,
So, I make a motion to deny this application
Based
based on, 1 through 4, and 1 did not
Meet
meet the
criteria.
Number 1.
Yeah.
Right. It didn't pass.
all right, any discussion on that? Further discussion? If not, all those in favor of that motion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
And it's a positive vote.
Okay.
All those opposed? So,
Okay.
4 to 1.
Yes.
Okay. We're
Move adjourn.
yeah. We'll,
When's the next one, the 20th?
yeah. So
Based
Craig
on,
will try to get in
Attorney.
touch with the attorney as soon as he can, okay? And, so we have, to contact you and let you know what's going on, okay? Yeah. Fair enough?
You have the contacts.
Yeah, can I do all of that application and everything, we did it online, so is that fine to submit all of that paperwork that way again?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, very good.
Better. It's better.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's better than a handwritten one.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Sorry
And I think
we
it'll-
couldn't help you
I think
this
it'll
time.
work out in the end. Okay?
We'll